everyone, welcome back to a new Taekook story. I hope you will love it. Jungkook Youngie called in a warning tone, feeling the anger boiling in his friend Jungkook. Even standing 5 feet apart, he could sense the heat of Jungkook's wrath. Mia, however, didn't seem to be intimidated. Considering the situation her fiancé Jungkook caught her in, she looked coolly at the man lying on her bed and then at her fiancé Jungkook and sighed. Jungkook, don't make a scene here. We are not married yet and it's not like we are in love. We both know that this marriage is of convincing. I'm sorry you saw me like this, but it would be better if you go now. We can talk about this later. As Han walked towards the bed, Jungkook slowly removed the engagement ring on his finger. Placing it next to the table, he said, "There is nothing to talk about, Mia. This is over." Glaring at the man Han, who was struggling to put his pant up, Jungkook left. His friend Youngie ran to catch up with him as Jungkook hurried towards the elevator. As the door opened, Jungkook stopped suddenly, looking at Youngie and said, "I want every single detail of that man tomorrow morning on my table, Hyung." The menacing tone sent a shiver down Youngie's neck. He dared not to think how his friend was going to bring down the man who had slept with his fiancée. It was a marriage of convenience, Jungkook thought as he drove erratically through the narrow street. He had to let off his steam. He sent his driver back home and hopped on behind the steering wheel. Long drives usually relaxed him, but not today. Arranged by their parents, Mia and his union was more of a business decision than that of the heart. Jungkook knew that, but the last 6 months that they were engaged, Jungkook had actually grown fond of Mia. She was sophisticated, fashionable, and carried herself elegantly. She had her own fashion line and was passionate about her work. After the first few dates, Jungkook found himself relaxing in her company, and after spending Valentine's Day week with her on his yacht, Jungkook found himself feeling better about his impending marriage. She seemed what his mother kept reminding him as a perfect match for his status, their family, and their business. Until today, when Yogi came and hesitantly told him that Mia was still seeing her old boyfriend. When Jungkook saw her in bed with another man, when Jungkook understood that he was still just a business deal for her, when Jungkook realized that, as always, it was only about his money, his feelings hurt, his anger rising, and his ego bruised. Jungkook kept pressing his foot on the escalator. It was a fraction of a second too late when he saw the bike in front of him stop from a elderly pedestrian to cross. As Jungkook pushed the brake with all his strength, his car crashed against the back of the bike, atop of which sat a man with a pink helmet. Taehyung looked lovingly at the elderly woman who was carefully crossing the road. He smiled as she glanced at him and mouthed, "Bless you." She appeared grateful. People never stopped for strange like her anymore. Taehyung was checking if she had reached the other end safely when he suddenly heard a screech followed by a thud. For a moment, he couldn't understand what was happening. He opened his eyes to see strange faces hovering over him. His ears were buzzing. He saw his bike down in the middle of the road. He let out a yelp. Someone from the crowd helped him to his feet. Taehyung was trying to look over their shoulders at the bike that he brought a month ago with a year saving. Assessing the damage when a strong arm roughly shoved his body to the side. Who gave you license? Don't you know better than to put brakes suddenly in the middle of the road? What the heck were you thinking? Do you know who am I? Do you know the cost of my car? A tall, bright skinned man yelled onto Taehyung's already buzzing ears. They had shown the single and slow down, signal and slow down. This man rammed onto his bike and was now shouting at him. Taehyung was pretty sure that the car was going over to speed limit too. They wanted to say all this to the guy who was pointing fingers and continuing his angry words like a machine. But Tang was still reeling from the impact of his fall. Words just refused to roll down of his mouth. Even in his dazed state, Tang could see the brown of force in the man's eyes. For a second, he felt sorry for the man who seems to be bursting with all the anger and state resentment in the world, but it quickly evaporated as they heard the battering run. The few people standing around realized that the man in the car was not an ordinary person. Took it the they took it in the make of his luxury car and his commanding demeanor, slowly spitting back, not wanting to entangle themselves in any trouble. One or two took out their phones and started recording. Jungkook looked like an enraged bull as he said harsh words at the biker. Taehyung, who looked too stunned to react, pushing Taehyung aside. The man then walked away, stopping to kick aside the pink helmet and light that lay near his front tire. Jungkook hopped back onto the car and drove away, leaving Taehyung with a bruised body and a broken bike. Taehyung was trying to pull his bike up when he heard the two youngsters who were looking through the video they had recorded. It is that Jungkook? You mean the Jungkook? Oh my god. Oh my god, yes, I think it's him. They inhaled deeply, walking up to the boys and asked them to share the video with him. Jian or not, they needed it to make sure that the freak paid for what he did. The indicator was broken and the handle felt a little loose, but thankfully he was able to start the bike. He slowly made his way to the nearest police station. Through the outlookers, Taehyung and Jungkook were just two of the 1,500 odd people who got into accidents every day on the streets of Seoul. Though they didn't know that then, for the two men involved, this was the ugly beginning of the most beautiful chapter of their lives. Jungkook has a spitting headache as he drove around aimlessly. He craved a hot cup of black coffee but didn't have the energy to stop at the coffee, so he kept driving. And driving the street of Seoul felt like a long, dark tunnel with no light at the end. The bustling outside was constructed by the emptiness of he felt inside. Jungkook replayed the image of early and gone when he remembered that a few boys had taken videos of the accident with the biker boy. Jungkook didn't want the video to go viral or to trend on Twitter. He will have to tell Yoongi to take care of it. Yoongi would know what to do, like he had done numerous times before for Jungkook when a paparazzi reporter took pictures of him making out with someone from college, or when Jungkook broke the nose of the pastor who threw up on him at the party, or when his actress ex-girlfriend threatened to go public with some private details after their breakup. And on many, many more occasions, Yoongi had handled it all sensitively. Yoongi never asked for details, nor did Jungkook tell him, but Jungkook knew that there was a lot of money involved to stop all this, and it finally came down to that money. They would always toe the line when they see the amount credited to their account, and anything or anyone that could be dangerous to Jungkook's position would disappear quickly. Jungkook went home after an hour of driving around and realized his parents were already there. Once his father handed him the power of the company, his parents had retired to to a farmhouse in the suburbs. His father stayed as a board member, though he didn't involve himself in the company operations. They were enjoying the peace and the quiet after the roller coaster life they had, building one of the biggest construction empires in the country. Yoongi was also there, and by the look of it, had already explained the Mia situation to his parents. Jungkook didn't have the strength to tell it to them by himself. He was grateful to Yoongi. It has been always like that with him and Yoongi, who was the son of his father's PA. Since his mother died young, Yoongi spent a lot of time at the Jeon household. Growing up, the two boys had struck a thick friendship. They grew stronger with age. Yoongi, however, was always remember of the difference between him and his friend Jungkook. Even with all the love and freedom the Jeon family extended, he never forgot that he was the son of an employee of Jeon family. Yoongi was loyal and would do anything for them, but he was very careful not to cross the boundaries and consider himself one among them. And in this world where one couldn't even trust their own shadow, Jungkook trusts Yoongi with his life and, more important, with his secrets. Yoongi was his rock, his friend, and his brother. So when Jungkook took over the business, his first call was to ask Yoongi to join his team. A wave of reassurance passed over Jungkook as he told what happened on the road to Yoongi, who just nodded and took notes on where it happened and when. "I'll be take care of it," when were his only words. No pointing fingers, no lecture him for his immaturity, no judging of the way Jungkook behaved. Jungkook said he can now brush aside the little glitch in his day. Oh boy, how wrong he was. Jungkook would never had a chance to forget about it. As for the rest of their lives, when Taehyung would narrate the whole incident in detail with some extra addition of his own to anyone who asked, so how did you two meet? To be continued. Everyone, what do you think? How is the start of their love story going to be? And what do you think about the story, about this chapter? Don't forget to comment it down. I'll see you again with another episode of this story. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye bye.